Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. I'm joined today once again by Nora Olson and Lance Shuttler, and we're going to talk about some amazing products. So, bee pollen. No, I'm sorry, pine pollen. I screwed it up again. I don't know why that stuck in my head, but yeah, pine pollen. So, you guys have a wonderful show for us. So, you probably heard a lot about the pine pollen and all the stuff. They have the best source of pine pollen on the planet. So guys, let's rock it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we Noah and I have prepared a very special show, and we want to just let everyone know that for those of us, for those who have seen us, this is going to be the best show that we've done. And we want to drop a lot of truth on a lot of important things. We're going to talk about pine needle tea, pine pollen, the difference in them, and then, a lot of other things with that. A lot of people know about the research that came out from Judy Mikovits some months ago, relating to pine needles. Obviously, there's a lot that we can't and won't talk about with that, but everyone knows in general what that means. But we have something that's truly unique and authentically unique, which is pine pollen. And Michael just held it up there, and I've got my jar here. Um, so what this is, it's the pollen that comes from the pine trees, and it's a massive superfood that is loaded in 200 different nutrients that the body can use. Noah's going to start sharing some more information with us. So that's kind of what the pine cone or the pine trees actually look like, and the pine pollen that comes off of this, and how this relates to respiratory health and immune health and all of that. So we'll get into that, but we really just want to share information that's going to help people right now, because we know about the global situation. We know that people really need to detox. They need to support their respiratory system, support their immune system, support the brain, all of that stuff. And this pine pollen truly is amazing food and nutrients that animals and humans can benefit from. So Noah, you can take it from there, and then we'll just keep going back and forth.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, the story of pine pollen, it's an amazing thing. So picture northernmost Canada, untouched from civilization, organic as you can get. And these 100-foot pine trees, they have this pollen that falls during harvest season, and they go out and they harvest this stuff. And the way that they preserve this is the utmost best. So they, whereas most pine pollens on the market are just, they're drying this harvested pollen just on the ground, where it's getting mold, where it's, not getting air on both sides of it like nature intended. The source that we have, they're actually drying this with racks, with a rack system, to where it's like keeping it in pristine condition. And then from there, it's ground into a fine powder, completely unadulterated. It's just the pure pollen. And that's another thing too. It's hard to even know what you're getting in a pine pollen product, but ours has been tested for any sort of debris, any sort of heavy metals. It's, again, clean as you can get. And then it's put directly into the freezer. So it's literally from the plant, like harvested out in the wild Canadian forest. It's dried and then it's frozen. So it's as clean as you can get. But the claim to fame with the pine pollen is that it's one of nature's only sources of steroids. So steroids are essentially plant identical hormones. So think like DHEA, testosterone. It's got these plant identical hormones that our body can actually use. But even more so than just those, it has a wide array of unique plant hormones, kind of like a full spectrum of different hormones that our body can use, again, like nature intended. And, along with that, taking these plant hormones, you're going to notice a beneficial, energy, resilience. There's some great studies actually that we've pulled up here. It's It's being studied. It's being looked at a lot more nowadays because it's a very novel ingredient. It's so rich in so many different minerals. One of those being chromium. And for those who don't know, chromium is really powerful in helping to support a healthy blood sugar. So, post meal, your blood sugar, depending on how much of an insulin spike you have, you're going to crash to some degree. And this pine pollen really helps to stabilize those blood sugar levels and, keep them healthy and normal as they should. There's a lot of information here. Like Lance talked about, this plays into all of the other research that's being done on the pine. It's really fascinating stuff. I would encourage people to look through it. So this is one study just looking at the effects with the chromium, like we just talked about. But then there's another one that was just recently done that goes into detail on the pharmacological aspects, but then also it really hits on the immune function boosting abilities. And while I'm not super familiar with all of these different, this is a very high speed article here. It's a scientific research paper. You can see here, they used chronic stress animal models to show how it helps to decrease the problems there. So Lance, I'm going to hand it back to you. Is there anything else you want to go into on that?
Yeah. We go back to the product page, Noah. Yeah. So, Michael, this, and you've been taking it. The tincture we've been selling out of in a day and a half whenever we get back in stock with it, and we just sold out again. But we just recently launched this pine pollen powder, and so this is something we're releasing to your audience, and we think it's going to do really well. We also expect this to blow out really quick. We are going to be giving out a discount code to everyone. We're going to give it out at the end of the show. So stick around because we will give out a nice discount for everyone who is interested in this product and any other products that we have on our site, which we've got 30 other products. But a couple of distinguishing things. So you can notice that the price on it's a fairly high price, but it's worth every penny, and I'll explain why. So pine pollen, almost every pine pollen on the market is coming from China, okay? And that's not a good or a bad thing in general, but obviously we know of the contamination, we know of the pollution and just the heavy metals and all of that stuff. We are sourcing, like Noah said, from Canada, and we're working with our team who are hand harvesting with love. Like, these are very good people. We know them personally, and they're hand harvesting and collecting this pine pollen. And the other big distinguishing factor is you can look online for cracked cell pine pollen versus whole cell, and we do the whole cell, okay? This is very important, and there's a lot of marketing gimmicks around the cracked cell saying that it's more bioavailable. That's actually not true. It is a big marketing scam, and it's a very good way to lessen the price of the pine pollen. So you'll find other pine pollens out there that are at a lower price, but I can guarantee you that the quality is very, very low. So we, again, like the coffee, and we'll get into that next, the coffee we sell, we authentically state and believe this wholeheartedly, it's the best coffee in the world. We intentionally sought out this source of the coffee. We intentionally sought out this source of the pine pollen so that we could say it's the best in the world, because we want to give the people the best in the world. Noah and myself, Michael, I know you're the same way. Many of our friends, and many, if not all people who are watching, we know our bodies are temples and we deserve the best. Okay. And we all get it. There's price limitations for everyone's budget, but if someone can do things, we need to be putting the best of the best in our bodies. And this pine pollen that we have literally is the best on the market. And we want to give this out to people. We want people to feel the effects from this. And the tincture, the reviews that we get and how fast it sells out, it speaks for itself. So this is a new product that we just launched, the pine pollen powder from Ascent Nutrition. And we're so excited about this because of all the research about pine needles, pine needle tea, pine pollen. the pine tree is so magical and special and here for us that, you know, we're facilitating this dispersion of this magical substance, which is the pine pollen. Michael, what are your thoughts or in general?
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely a great product. Everyone loves it. Like you said, when you come out and talk about the other products you have, usually they sell up pretty quickly. So this pine pollen is going to be one of those things that's going to sell out very quickly. Everyone realizes the value of it. I have friends that tell me, you know, they buy, you know, 3, 4, 5 at a time, and I'm like, why you buy so much? And they're like, because they sell out so quick, and I want to make sure they have it, you know, for months ahead. So that's going to happen again, because I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are going to jump on this and buy it very quickly. So you don't want to hesitate. You want to get out there and buy it. Now, how many servings is in each one? I haven't actually looked at this yet.
It's actually a great question. So
Mhm.
the jar is a 60-gram jar, and we recommend that people do about 2 grams per day. So that's about a month's supply.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
so how do you measure 2 grams usually?
Go ahead, Noah.
I think it's about half of a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon. Okay.
Yep, half of a teaspoon. So it's a pretty small amount. Obviously, you can use more if you like.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what you're getting essentially is this is the most prized possession that this pine tree offers, and in that, I mean, these trees withstand, you know, sub 20-degree temperatures. It's amazing that we're able to actually extract all of those nutrients. And Lance, I wanted to talk to you about the wholesale. So the reason that most other companies are, you know, selling the cracked cell wall is because it's that when they're shoveling it, they're accidentally cracking the cell wall. It's not on purpose. They're quite frankly, they're harming the product and they're exposing it to oxygen. And it's always, you know, quite frankly going rancid. But ours, it's so clean. When you open the jar, the powder's like liquid. It literally flows like sand, and that's only achievable in its wholesale form. It's amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone will notice when you get that powder how incredibly fine it is, and you can just see how magical it is and wonderful. A couple other things, like how to use it. You can use it to put on food, like you can put it in soups or stews. You can put it in smoothies. You can put it in drinks. You can eat it straight. It's really however you want to do. Pets can use it. Like you can mix it with your pet's food. It's completely safe for pets. And it's just a true superfood. It is the actual definition of a superfood. In conjunction with that, it's nature's highest source of DHEA, which is the lutein hormone. And that's the hormone upon which all the other hormones branch down off of. And this definitely will help support healthy testosterone levels. And something that I want to clarify, both men and women need testosterone. And to help support like a healthy menopause, you know, or a healthy menstrual cycle during those times, women need testosterone, and both testosterone is beneficial for both men and women. It's also loaded in glutathione, which a lot of people know about glutathione for detoxing the brain, detoxing the liver, and then SOD, which is another powerful free radical scavenger similar to glutathione. So a lot of people are concerned about, you know, a lot of synthetic chemicals that are put in the body and in the food and all of that. And glutathione and SOD is something that we all absolutely need. And these are nature's highest sources of it.
Sweet.
And that DHEA as well.
So I have the collagen protein with MCT oil. I was just talking to Noah how I have all these products separately usually, but everything's in one. I have it's a chocolate flavored. So I have it here in my drink. It's absolutely delicious. And I just put some of the pine pollen in there and took a sip, and it is delicious. It works very good.
Nice.
Mm.
That's awesome. And it's great too, because
Oh,
it mixes in water well. Like,
yeah.
you'd
This
be
is just water
surprised.
and the collagen and the pine pollen. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, definitely. And for people that are just joining now, we'll Noah, will you scroll up a little bit?
Yep.
We're just launching this basically today with Michael, and we're going to be giving out a discount code at the end of the show for these products, and this will be a nice discount. So in relation to, no pesticides and organic products, clean products that are grown the way that they should be and treated with love and respect the way that they should be. Michael, you know about the coffee that we have. You have phenomenal testimonies for us about it. The taste is something that we really like to talk about. We'll go into the mold and mycotoxin free aspect, but because this is organically grown and because there's no mold and mycotoxins, the taste of this is literally unlike almost every other coffee out there. Again, we are doing this for so many reasons. We want to change the narrative around health and wellness and agriculture and food and the environment. And this is how all of this stuff ties in. We need to source these things that are being grown this way and done this way, and use our purchasing power to consume these things from companies that are doing this. We're doing what we can do to help spread the awareness of what this is, and we're very happy about this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So people are curious about, they go out and they take from their pine trees they have around their homes, wherever they might be, anywhere in the world, and make tea out of it. So what is the difference between this pine pollen powder that you guys have and someone just going out and grabbing some, pine needles and boiling them up and making tea out of it?
Yeah. Noah, we go back to that product page.
Yep. It's a really great question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. So the pine pollen is going to have way more nutrients in it. Again, 200 different bioactive compounds that the body can recognize and use for health, also beneficial for animals. It does have some of the special compounds that are noteworthy, like the toluene and the shikimic acid. Those are the two compounds that are really of interest in the pine needles. Again, you're only going to be getting so many out of the pine needles. This is not to put them down, because
Sure.
we're actually looking into this as well. But it's just a different product in terms of like a superfood effect and getting all these different nutrients. The pine pollen powder is definitely more loaded in these compounds, but the pine needles just have different ratios of those specific compounds of the toluene and the shikimic acid. So neither is better or worse than the other. They're just different foods for different purposes, similar purposes, but you can use them in a few different ways. But again, we're looking into this for the pine needle tea, and we're getting good traction on it. And if we can do it, we're going to definitely do it, because there's a use for both of them. And another question that people might have is, what's the difference between the tincture and the powder? They're both super beneficial, and we actually truly and authentically suggest for people to take both of them in combination. We are out of stock at the moment of the tincture. We do have more coming in soon, but right now the pollen is what we have, and that's of highest interest to people right now in relation to the respiratory health situation and immune health. This is a very beneficial substance for people to consume.
And I just want to expand a little bit further too, because people might be asking, over 200 bioactive nutrients, like what does that mean? But like there's actually potassium, magnesium, phosphorus. I mean, we looked at chromium. There's different carotenoids, all sorts of different, obviously enzymes unique to pine pollen alone. So it's incredibly nutrient dense. It's a complete source of all essential amino acids. So it's actually a great source of protein as well.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
And I think it's like 24 vitamins, 18 minerals, something like that, and all the amino acids, like Noah said. So it actually does fit the category of a superfood. A lot of the superfoods are not true superfoods. It's more like a marketing gimmick, but this actually is.
Definitely.
Outstanding. And
Yeah.
the healthy libido, and that's, so some people are like, well, I'm young, and so a lot of people, we all have a friend that had his testicle hit in a sporting game, and he started having problems with his health and low energy levels and so forth. So he learned, and he was, quite young at the time. So over time, he figured out that from that injury, that he had a libido problem. His testosterone was low. So anytime you can get something that's going to help manage your testosterone, and like we talked about, it's very important for women as well. Then you're going to have a very high value I want to say target, but target for like getting that product. So that's definitely something that's you should be looking at. Almost all of your products that I've looked at have, health benefits for the libido. So it's absolutely amazing.
Definitely. And to add on to that too, this is a natural, source of these hormones. A lot of people are familiar with taking prescriptions, other synthetic forms. This is all natural.
Yep.
Awesome.
Sweet. It's like a miracle food. And plus at a time, and really at a time, when we're all confused about a certain thing that goes in there, and why is that such a big problem? When you take away the fluff and the censorship and so forth, you figure out there's really some damaging effects that are happening from that. So this is countering that. So people that have very big brains that are in this field have been telling us, hundreds of them, doctors and nurses and so forth, that this is very valuable, this product that you guys have.
Definitely. We think we all kind of feel the energy of this show and what's happening right now, that this is our kind of stake in the ground of getting the word out there to help a lot of people. And people who are watching this, we ask that you help share this video, not just from a sales perspective, but truly to help people, because all three of us on the show, and everyone watching, all of our hearts are in the right place of actually wanting to help people and actually help this world get out of this chaos and this system that we've been in for so long. And it really does begin with every one of us, how we're treating ourselves, our physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, all of that. So this is these are things that we can all do to help spread the word, share information, spread the awareness.
Very nice. And the servings you get, it's a 2 gram serving. You get 60 grams, so you're getting 30 servings. That's like less than the price of a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks. So it's definitely worth its weight in gold, like you guys say. It comes from Canada, and it's the way it's harvested. It's very difficult. I lived in Lake Tahoe, and I'd have the ground covered with pollen. You just can't harvest this stuff. It's like you blow it away, and it's like, I remember looking at it going, wow, I wish I could harvest that stuff. I know that stuff is super, super good for you, but unless you have someone that has the right harvesting apparatus and do, like we're talking about, have love in their hearts, and that is so valuable, guys. I remember going to like a Kentucky Fried Chicken one time to get a quick meal. Rarely do this, but I was like, okay, I was traveling. This was many years ago, and so I pull in, and the people at the place were arguing, and I was like, shit. I got one of those intuitive hits, like leave. I'm like, well, I really want this food, so I got the food, and I got sick. So it's very important, that you're getting the source of your well-being from a very reliable and good source.
Definitely. And for everyone watching, before we came on the show, all three of us set the intention for this to help a lot of people. And Noah and I did this before we even came on, and all of that. And I think that the word is going to spread very nicely with this.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of this show, like we're talking about, we're going to give you a discount code, and the links will be in the description box below. So we're not done with the show yet, but just give you guys a heads up because I see it in the chat already. So just hang in there. We'll definitely get that to you. This is not only going on this YouTube channel, but also my other YouTube channel, Rumble and Telegram. So 250,000 people are going to see this. So if you're kind of wondering if you're going to get this or not, you've been thinking about getting pine pollen, don't hesitate long, guys, because it will sell out. It always sells out. So every time I do a show with this stuff, it sells out. So it's going to be good.
Yeah. Noah, you want to switch over to the coffee? We can touch on that.
Absolutely. I'll jump right in if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So our coffee, I mean, we've been talking about a lot of really unique products. That's really what our brand is focused upon. It's the best, highest, cleanest quality. And our coffee is not only organic, but it's mold free. So, people might not be familiar, but over 90% of coffee has mold in it. And it's actually surprising how much is in just even one cup of coffee. But you go down to your Starbucks, you go to, get your Folgers Maxwell House coffee. They're pulling beans from all over the world and they don't care. So there's all sorts of different molds in there. Granted, it's also not organic, so it's full of pesticides. We actually recently came across little information here. You can see all of these different chemicals that they use on coffee, and you can see like a lot of them are almost all of them are illegal in Brazil for some reason, and then the U.S. actually allows quite a few of these. And while they're sometimes banned in household use, they're still used in agriculture. So you can see here, that's just one page. There's 2 pages of pretty harmful. Some of these are possibly carcinogenic. I mean, take it for what you will. There's not a lot of studies done on these. Granted, it's, they don't want to do studies on these, but it says that they're highly hazardous. So it's, something you really got to look out for. Definitely get an organic coffee. The mold is something people are not familiar with, but there's actually mold specifically in coffee that are neurotoxic. And so over time, drinking coffee with mold will decrease your dopamine levels. And dopamine is the primary neurotransmitter responsible for motivation, getting things done, and overall just like your life energy. If you have low dopamine, you're not going to be as enthusiastic or motivated. And so what happens is you actually get addicted to the caffeine from the mold because you need the coffee to keep raising your energy levels. And so, the first thing people notice when they taste our coffee is it's smooth. It's been said our coffee tastes like almond, kind of like a caramel, hintiness to it. Michael, I know you love this stuff. What do you got to say about it?
Oh yeah. I just opened this up and it's, oh my God. I love this stuff, guys. And I could take this stuff and eat it like candy. It is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm not going to eat a lot of it right now because I could, because it's getting a little late here. I don't want to be up too long. But when I do take this, when I do other coffees, I can feel it in my body. I can feel the difference now. Because, I didn't start drinking coffee until I was in my 40s. And before then I was like, yuck, So then I had some bodybuilding people tell me, it helps, cut fat and gives you energy for your workouts and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So I doll it all up and put a lot of good, yummy stuff in it. And so I started drinking it and I was, oh, that's okay. And I was a bouncer in a nightclub at night, being in SEAL teams, you work during the day and then you a little extra money on the night. So it worked out pretty good. So over time, I've become, I wouldn't say addicted to it, but it's part of my routine, to do coffee and then go work out. And that's the way I usually run it. And it gives me a little extra energy and push me through. Now, when I can tell the difference, I just had some of this morning, compare with, because I'm using it a lot. So it's, it's going quick. So I used it this morning because we have like a automatic grinder and it goes through and it's like we get purified water. It's beautiful. And so I drank that coffee, and I was actually thinking, no, I'm not going to do coffee today, because the one that I did before is like, I don't have the good coffee, but had good coffee this morning. And so I was like, I'll drink it. And I drank it. It's so smooth. And the other coffee was like starting to crank on my body a little bit. And I'm like, but this was smooth. I went and worked out, and I had an excellent workout, had a nice long run. So I'm into turning up the aerobics again, because as we go into the winter time frame, and you're like, oh, you're in Florida. It's like, yeah, but it kind of cools off here. So I like, I turn it up during a certain time frame. During the winter is not as, or I don't do it as much, but I do it more intense. So it definitely made a difference today, and it will tomorrow, because I'm gonna do some more tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day after that, because I got another shipment of coffee in. Yay.
Awesome, Michael. Noah, will you pull up that right there. So there's something that's really interesting, and it's a catch-22 for the organics and non-organics. So okay, this is our certificate of analysis showing that ours is indeed completely free of these molds and mycotoxins. So one thing that people should know, okay, so pesticides will kill some of the mold and some of the mycotoxins, but then you're obviously ingesting the pesticides with the coffee. So it's like, what do you want, the mold or the pesticides? Now, with some organics, because it doesn't have the pesticides, it's going to have the mycotoxins and the mold. So again, it's that catch-22. What do you want? You want the mold, or do you want the pesticides? Ours is completely separate from all of that. No pesticides, no mold and mycotoxins. So for those that like coffee, it's an easy choice. The taste is phenomenal. I'm getting more into coffee, and this is it's literally the best coffee I've had. And Noah and I have several friends and our coworkers who love it, and it speaks for itself. Noah, can you click on the reviews at all, or scroll down to reviews?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of amazing reviews from people, best of the best. That was my comment, actually, but yeah, people learning about it through you, Michael, and just amazing stuff. We're very happy to be selling this, because again, we're pushing the envelope of what the narrative should be for all food and all agriculture and all products.
Nice.
No pesticides. We need to end that stuff right now. I mean, it's obviously not going to happen today, but we're all pushing for this, and we have the intention, and we're going to definitely make it happen, because we can change this on this planet. And the big ag, their time is nearly here. They're going to be faced with a choice: either completely be done away with, or they're going to go and use their infrastructure to actually help heal the planet and heal the people.
Yeah, I think they're going to be paying a lot of money out.
Yep.
We're going to find that out. So there's a question from one of the audience, Tank, and it says there's just so many new supplements coming on the market these days. Just don't know what to buy, because if I were to buy everything that's just been on your show, there is no way I could afford them. Right. So what I would say, these are, if you're going to buy any products, and do your research, but I would recommend, as someone that has done this my entire life, since I was like before my teen years, I've been researching vitamin supplements and so forth all my life. I've tried all kinds of different diets. I've done all kinds of different supplements. I am my own guinea pig. These are the best supplements. So if I had my choice of what supplements, you can only have one brand of supplements, I would choose these guys. All right. I would choose these guys over everybody else. Thanks. No, hands down. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And that's that. We've been together for a long time. You guys were my first, and you've hung in when my channel has gone down. It was like not a lot of viewers and not a lot of sales, but you guys have hung in there. I really appreciate it. And because I really believe in your product, and so it's good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I think it's been a year or coming up on a year. I remember you and I connected back in October of last year.
Yeah.
So the feeling is mutual amongst both of us. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in you. We believe in you, Mike. That's
Thanks.
yeah.
All of your audience clearly does too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a bullshitter. I'm not I hope everyone knows I don't blow smoke up, my honor, my integrity is everything. So when I say something, I'm telling you what coming from my heart. So I almost get choked up talking about it. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Michael. Noah, let's switch over to the mushrooms. So kind of in relation to pesticides and all of that, we talked about this last time, but we all know that the pesticides have such a major issue. Yeah, there's the mushrooms. I've got one here as well. The majestic mushrooms from Ascent Nutrition. Noah, will you go back to that screen real quick?
Yep.
Thank you. So, the pesticides, it not only harms us humans and the animals and the plants and the environment, but harms the bees. And like the screenshot says, 1 out of every 3 bites of food on this planet is thanks to the pollination of honeybees. And when we spray pesticides like Roundup on dandelions in the spring, we're decimating those bees and the pollinators. And so like one simple thing that people can do is in the springtime, well, first just don't use Roundup and don't use the pesticides, but especially in the spring, when the dandelions come up, educate your friends and family and neighbors, hey, don't use that stuff, because there's no reason to kill those dandelions. I mean, it's a beautiful flower. Why people think it's a weed is it's literal brainwashing. I mean, that's all it's come down to. The bees need that. The planet needs it. Us humans need it. It's very simple.
Yeah, I had some friends that were really into organic farming, and they took dandelion and they made a dandelion wine, and it was like delicious. It was sweet. Oh, it was fabulous. So yeah, dandelion. After they show me all the benefits that you can, I take dandelions if I see them in the yard. I pick them, clean them, put them in my salad. So they're great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We won't go into it in this show, but we've talked about the dandelion leaf extract that we've got in our Peak Liver Detox product.
Mm-hmm.
That's also relating to respiratory health and 3 different pathways that have been discovered recently for supporting respiratory and immune system health. But the bees really benefit from mycelium and the mushrooms as well. And so kind of getting into this, the mushrooms are getting so popular because people are learning the truth about how they support our immune system, support our respiratory system, support the brain and nervous system, the gut, so many things. This is one of our top selling products. I think it's our 3rd best or 4th best selling product, because people know about the mushrooms. They know that the awareness is spreading. And this one specifically is loaded in the lion's mane mushroom, which is supremely beneficial for immune health and the nervous system. Noah, you can tell us more.
Yeah, so lion's mane it's become pretty popular nowadays. You hear a lot about like mushroom coffee, and so that's why we also recommend you take these with your coffee. So lion's mane, it helps to kind of light up the brain. It activates 2 proteins known as BDNF and NGF. And these 2 proteins are responsible for learning and basically the formation of new brain cells. And so taking this, it's really great for learning, just overall memory. They actually used to give this to monks before they would meditate as like a tea. And obviously now we can dual extract. We can, get a very precise extract so that you're getting the highest potency. So yeah, along with that, it's like Lance said, it's great for the immune system. There's actually this study that we wanted to pull up, which kind of shows its mechanism of action. So it kind of in the intestine, it helps to basically increase it helps attribute to the effective regulation of the mucus in the intestinal tract. And so through that pathway, however these fibers work, it actually increases the immunoglobulins responsible for the immune system. So it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing stuff. And will you go back to the photo of it, Noah?
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So you can see like the little like hairs that are coming off of that, and it's in relation to what they call the doctrine of signatures, like in nature. Like what do these what we find in nature is relating to the human body. So that you can kind of see kind of looks like neurons in the brain or synapses that are connecting, the dendrites that are connecting. And it's no surprise that this is phenomenal for the brain and nervous system. It helps those neurons, like Noah said, it helps them to connect and strengthen their connections between each other, helps to form new neurons, helps you to cement in memories or muscle movements or anything like that that you've done. So a lot of people will use it as an athlete, because if you're training, you're not only stressing your muscles, but at the most fundamental level, you're stressing your nervous system. And so when you can take something that helps your nervous system repair and recover quicker, then you're actually cementing those movements and those muscle contractions into place in a quicker amount of time. And just like Noah said with the memory, it's the same sort of effect when you're testing your memory and testing your brain and learning new things. It's really about how quickly do you recover and cement those into place. And that happens at night when you sleep. So the BDNF and the NGF compounds, that helps make that happen. And this is novel and unique to lion's mane. Other compounds do it, but the lion's mane has a very potent effect on those two proteins.
So I got a listener that's Zane Sampson, great last name. Says the Majestic Mushroom Supplement is a great product. I use it as a prebiotic.
That's awesome.
Genius.
Thank you, Zane. Thank you. It is, like Noah said, with the gut health. It's a phenomenal prebiotic, great for immune system, nervous system.
So the prebiotic, so it's separate from a probiotic. A lot of people might not be familiar with prebiotic, but a prebiotic is essentially a type of fiber that feeds the beneficial gut bacteria. So again, the gut, it's our second brain. It's where our immune system is pretty much held. So think, feeding those good bacteria, it's going to help your brain. It's going to help your immune system.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I have known that the gut health is extremely important for a long time. Being in combat zones, when I knew that something was up, I would get that gut feeling, that second brain, like you mentioned, very, very important. Lots of neurons, like we're talking about right now, around the gut. So the second brain, that's why they call it that. So when I would get that gut feeling that something was coming on, I would go to my heart and I would say, okay, what is it? And then I would get the visions like I talk about. So yeah, it's very, very important. So Zane obviously has some deep insights and knows what he's talking about. And Noah, thanks for what you just shared. So awesome. Education, you guys come on, we educate us. I know not everyone can afford all the products, like you have mentioned. If you can afford, something here and there, that's usually the way I do stuff. I test it. And if it's good, then I'll come back and get something else. So, as you go forward, like I said, these are some of the best products you're going to find anywhere, if not the best. Right. In my opinion, they are the best, but you need to do your own research. You need to do your own critical thinking, use your own intuition, like we were just talking about. And if this is for you, get some.
Definitely.
Awesome.
So we'll just kind of summarize what we talked about with Ascent, and then we'll move on to EMF briefly. So Noah, we go back to the pine pollen. So we began this show talking about the pine pollen and in relation to the pine needles and the differences in them and the synergy between them. And really the pine pollen, it's the pine tree's quintessential output of that tree, in that there's 200 different bioactive nutrients that it can use. Great for respiratory health, immune health, brain health. Pets can take it. It's phenomenal stuff.
Definitely. And then, yeah, the coffee, it's organic, mold free. People can find it on our website. It's some of the cleanest, best tasting coffee you'll ever try. And then lastly, the mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah. We wrapped up with the mushrooms. You guys all just heard that. And, next we want to talk about some important things that are happening with electromagnetic fields and electromagnetic radiation, and some solutions that people can explore. I'm going to share my screen here. So I've shared this the past couple times, but I feel like this video is going to reach a lot of people. And so I want to bring it up again. Less than a couple months ago, Bobby Kennedy's organization, Children's Health Defense, had a massive win against the FCC on safety guidelines for 5G. This is really important because it helps set the precedent for future lawsuits and for people to be held accountable for what's been happening, and for the necessary changes to take place. The guidelines that were set for what safety limits are was literally over 20 years ago. I think it was 24 years ago to be exact. Think about how much the radiation has increased on this planet since that time. Why are we using data to set safety levels from 24 years ago when, the cell phones that existed maybe even didn't exist 24 years ago, and if they did, it was something that was massive and obscure. So the point is, the narrative is changing. Those of the light, we are winning, and we will finish what has been put in motion. And Bobby's organization, all the people helping him, and all the people in this world that are doing everything right and good, we just need to keep building momentum, and the light will break through and purge this darkness. Something else that I want to bring up in relation to this, because some people, I don't think most people listening to this, but some people still might have skepticism around EMFs. And the mainstream narrative is that EMFs, it's not really that big of a deal. There's no science to it. All of that. There's 30,000 published studies relating to EMFs and how harmful it is to all biological life. So humans, animals, plants, everything. And what the EMF scientists' appeal is, this is an international organization that, as of earlier this year, had 255 scientists from 44 nations sign this appeal that went to the UN, the WHO, UNEP, and other organizations, calling for drastic measures to take place to do a whole range of things to further study the effects of radiation, to lower or higher the guidelines for safety, and really just make products that are more safe for people. But the really interesting thing about this, Michael, is that to even become part of this organization, each of these 255 scientists have to have published a peer-reviewed paper on the biological effects of electromagnetic radiation. So wow. These literally are the world's top scientists in relation to EMFs, and they're all saying the same things. So why are we not listening to these people, the real scientists, the real science, instead of listening to the mainstream garbage that literally is straight propaganda? So how this sort of stuff affects us. This one scientist, Martin Blank, and he actually started this. He's passed over now, but he started this organization. He showed how DNA acts as a fractal antenna. So what that means is our DNA it's an antenna in and of itself, to where it's picking up on all electromagnetic fields, positive ones or beneficial ones like red light therapy, or negative ones like 5G radiation. So it literally damages the DNA. It does have effects on us, and It's very powerful stuff. This is another study showing the millimeter wave technology. Michael, you can probably talk a little bit about the I don't remember the exact active denial system, something like that. The military grade millimeter wave technology that disperses crowds. This is this sort of technology that's used in 5G, or is planning to be used in some of the higher echelons of 5G.
Mhm.
And this study shows that it actually has deeply penetrating effects in biological organisms. So it does affect us not only on the skin level and the blood level, but deeper into us, even down to the bone level. It's very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, the military has vehicles that put out those waves, and they've actually been used in crowd control already, and actually in some combat missions as well. So, I mean, I just saw this one clip of a 5G tower, and it was made in like a palm tree. It looked like it was in California somewhere, and there were had been three palm trees around it. They were all bent over dead. So, I mean, we're kind of seeing the results and the effects of 5G. That's why we want to wear our EMF protectors and have them on our computers and on our cell phones and so forth. So uh, great product. I got this early on with Lance, and I share it with everyone in my family has these on their computers and phones now, and everybody swears by them. They really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, so this is the company that I started a little over a year ago, and Michael's been promoting it for a year, and so many people who have watched have bought, and we've got really great testimonials from people, and many people actually feel the effects from it. Not everyone's going to feel the effects because everyone's different. You know, we're all different in how we feel things and how our physiology responds, but we have many people who actually feel the effects of this. Um, but in general, like, why do we want EMFs? Just kind of like what we talked about. It reduces sleep quality for sure. The energy and stamina goes down. It really impacts the brain, specifically for children. Children's brains absorb twice the amount of radiation than adults do. So if you've got kids who use phones, computers, tablets, really important for their devices to have them. Um, and it's just, very, very crucial, especially in these times that we're in. So we've got different products. The cell phone protection disc, which goes on the cell phone, obviously. We've got computer strips. Noah's holding it up there. We'll go into the technology here in a little bit, how, these discs actually can affect us. But we've got strips for routers, tablets, computers, other devices like that, other smart devices. If you've got any sort of smart device, you want to be using some sort of protection, and these are what you'd want to look at. And then the energy and wellness wristband, it does have an EMF protection component to it. It's more so for energy and wellness and just overall physiological health, and then body relief patches. So
Yeah, it's really good. I had someone that's tried it, and they had like joint pain in the hands and the wrists and stuff, and the joint pain went away. So it's definitely reduces inflammation, like your product, like you guys talk about on every show. And also, I saw that Tank's got some pain and that he's dealing with. I don't know if this will help you, Tank, but I tried, the patches, and the patches I tweak. I'm always tweaking myself, and when I tweak myself, I use the patches, and they reduce the inflammation and let the healing begin. Because as long as the inflammation is there, whatever you've tweaked or whatever's going on wrong with you. And I've had people that have had. And I'm gonna tell you, people have had 10 years of back pain, and they use these. And it's not, obviously, we're not making any claims, and we're not saying that it'll absolutely work for everybody. But people have said that they have had 10 years worth of pain in their back and some other places, and they use these, and they got relief right away. So, it does make a difference. So whatever's going on in, your body, maybe that can help out, Tank.
yeah, thanks, Michael. Very well said. This is a thermography study that we did showing the shifting from the green or from the red to the green, which shows that a healthy inflammatory response is actually happening in the body. And it's really helping. I actually heard a testimony through a secondhand source, but it's relating to this technology. It's this exact technology that a lady who she unfortunately had to have her leg amputated due to a cancer. She put this on her leg that was amputated, and then on her other leg because that leg was now bearing a lot of weight. And what was said was that one patch on each leg completely helped mitigate those effects for her, and she felt complete comfort and relief. We have mind-blowing testimonies like that. Some that are like literally almost unbelievable, but I've heard enough of them now that I know that it's real and that, you know, these are actually helping people. So I appreciate you sharing that, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And going down here, so how the technology works, you can see it in here. I'm not going to go through all of this, but basically we're using a Mylar material, and we program frequencies into this hologram, and then those frequencies via the longitudinal scalar waves actually interact with our DNA to then create a physiological switch or spark or change in the cell. And it tells the cell, hey, elicit this sort of effect. And what happens then is it will counter the effects of the EMFs. So we know the physiological effects that EMFs have on us. And so what we've done is we went to nature and we found different vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, oils, things like that. And what we do is we can actually capture the frequency of those molecules. And then what happens is we convey those into the hologram, and those holograms then interact through Tesla's technology, these scalar waves, to our DNA to create an actual change within the body. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff, but we know that it works. And then this is one microscopy video that we did on red blood cells and white blood cells, just showing how the technology actually works in relation to when the cells are near a phone, and then when we put the technology on, what happens, and they start declumping. And so the cells regain their ability to carry oxygen. And that's really important. Obviously, we know oxygen is a fundamental component to life. And when that happens, the cells can do what they need to do.
Yeah, and I've noticed in a lot of stuff that people are putting out there, they're doing spectrographies and so forth of blood and so forth. And the blood, after somebody gets this thing, is basically clumping up into like these rows, like tight rows. And as you're showing there, and I remember watching your video there, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. It's like once you get this EMF field, broken up, and you do with the scalar waves, basically it frees it up and it starts to move normal. I wonder, if it would have that effect. So people are always talking about med beds and stuff like that. So I've been on a lot of different stuff out there, and a lot of it is based on this type of technology, guys. So you're basically, I believe, you're getting this with these products. You're getting med bed type technology with these products.
Definitely, because the medbed stuff is scalar wave and other technology for sure. But I know a lot of the people who are talking about med beds and things like that, it is scalar wave technology. And this is exactly what we're doing. And our technology is actually, we've taken Teslas of the scalar waves, and we've actually taken it a little bit in a different direction. I don't want to try to throw Tesla under the bus, not at all. But we've taken it and sort of advanced it in a unique, different way. But the same concept of those scalar waves, and just advanced it a little bit more.
Right.
And
I think what you're referring to is like the 369, but
yeah.
you're all the way up to 12. And I know some people that are like way out there that are saying, yeah, it's 12. these guys are on it. So maybe I'm not, I love Tesla stuff, and we're not going to throw him under the bus because I think he did great stuff. Maybe he said that because we know how things are kind of twisted, so they don't, maybe the bad guys wouldn't get all the information. So, so it could be a little bit of that, but you guys have definitely just come right out and done the right thing with it. So that's beautiful. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Exactly. The guy, I won't mention his name, but who Michael's referring to about the 12 base technology, the Tesla technology. You can look up 12 base mathematics on Tesla technology, and that scientist is a brilliant genius, and he's doing some incredible things. And he looked at this technology and said, yes, this is the 12 base math. This is the real deal. So I'm very happy with it. I know the people that we're working with are very happy with it. And yeah, just helps a lot of people. We've got a very deep Q&A section as well on all of the products. So a lot of questions on the body relief, the cell phone, the computers, the wristband, and just general questions. So if people do have questions, you can find most of the answers here. And this really sums everything up really nice. And then for a little bit more advanced science, we've got this page where we talk about this stuff, but then right down here, we have this study that was done on morning glories, and it goes really deep into these scalar waves and uses a lot of technical terms and really reveals a lot of data, and shows how this technology is actually impacting biological life. So very interesting stuff, and we're very happy about it. Just to kind of sum up, if someone has a cell phone and you're not using anything, really encourage you to look at this cell phone disc. If you've got tablets, routers, especially if your kids are using things, you really want to make sure that their devices have protection on it. Wristband, these do really well. People really like them. We've got a new clasp on them too, so they actually stay on much better than the older ones. And then Michael just talked about these body relief patches for helping a lot of different people and really helping in some amazing ways. So someone that I know, actually my brother, he just told me that he had the wristband off for a few days, and then he put the wristband on just a couple days ago, and he said he can actually feel the effects of that wristband. He says it's a noticeable difference for him. Again, everyone's different. Some people will feel it, some people won't. But the one thing that is happening for sure is that it does actually change the physiology, and it is impacting the physiology.
And I just want to add too, I mean, think, for people who, go to work in office buildings, factories, power plants, there's actually studies showing how this was done on male workers at a power plant, how it decreases their testosterone when they leave. And, wearing a band like this, anything you can do to mitigate the effects of just going to work.
Wow. Great point. Oh,
yeah. Thank you. No, that's really powerful and true. I got a lot of reviews on this. People really like it. This is what it looks like. This is what the hologram looks like on the back here. Wonderful stuff. So anything else you guys want to say, and then we'll give out those discount codes right now.
I think that's
it. Noah, you got anything else?
Nope. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do the discount codes. Everybody's waiting and patiently.
Okay. So, Noah, do you have a nice open? I mean, I'll just say it, I guess, but we can write it down too for people to see. I'll write it in here. The discount code is Jaco 10. So JACO 10, and that can be used for both EMF harmonized to save 10%, and also for Ascent Nutrition. So earlier in the show, if you're just tuning in, you want to go and go back and listen to what we were talking about, because we were talking about pine needle tea, we're talking about pine pollen, we're talking about amazing, clean, organic coffee, we're talking about great mushroom products. That coupon code can also be used for this company as well. They're different companies, so the products are going to ship out separately, but you can use the same discount code Jaco10 for 10% off, and that's for both companies.
Sweet. It's going to be amazing. I think everybody's going to get a lot of these products, and I hope they do. You know, we're bringing all this information to you guys with love. You know, hopefully, you guys will benefit from these products going forward. I have been, over over a year now that I've been using the products. They're part of my life, and I don't say that about a lot of stuff. I usually try things once or twice and like moving on to something different. But I'm totally dedicated to this stuff. It's really good.
Yeah, and for anyone listening too, please, give us your feedback. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want us, what you would like to hear from us next time we come on.
Yeah.
And you guys are constantly expanding your product base, so it's fantastic. So it's not never boring. That's why I love to have you guys on. It's educational, whether people are buying your products or not. It's very educational. But I think that most people that are listening are definitely trying out these products.
Definitely.
Or already have, and because we've been talking about this stuff for a year. And I think when we first started, we were blowing this stuff up. So I think a lot of people have a lot of this stuff. It's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got truly revolutionary and groundbreaking products that we are going to be rolling out over the coming weeks and months.
Oh yeah,
that's no exaggeration. Amazing stuff. When we say we are selling the best of the best, we're doing that because we're intentionally going for the sources of the best of the best. Like, we want to authentically be able to stand behind that statement of, we have the best pine pollen in the world, we have the best coffee in the world, we've got many other products in the pipeline now that we will be able to say this is the best in the world, because honestly, every human on this planet deserves the best of the best, and we need to get to the point where the monetary systems and the financial systems change in a way where everyone has access to the best. There's no lack on this planet. It's the systems that have prevented the abundance that's naturally here.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. So guys, thanks a lot for joining me again. And you guys, Jaco10, don't miss that for, using that in your code. I'll have the links down at the bottom, regardless of where you're, where you're looking at this, whether it's Rumble, YouTube, or Telegram, the link and the saving code Jaco10 will be at the very top, and you can just click on that and just go and, do your research. As you saw, there's like tons of information in here. These guys are a wealth of information. They're cutting edge, and you're going to definitely benefit from using their products.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Lots of love.